Today we found a leak on the oil cooler gasket to the block, so we're going to go ahead and replace that, and I'm going to show you how to do it. A lot of guys on YouTube show you have to drain your whole oil, or they're saying that they've already drained the oil, or they're in the process of changing their oil. So we're going to go ahead and show you how to do it without it. First we need to remove the filter, and then there's going to be a 24mm socket, a deep socket that you're going to have to take off that oil cooler. This is our new part. I picked it up at O'Reilly. It is a Dorman, and then these are going to be, this is the part number and everything. This is actually a 3-pack. So when my buddy does his oil change, we'll do his as well. I've heard that these actually do end up cracking after a little while, so we're going to go ahead and just change it, and hopefully that's where our leak is from. Okay, so you're going to want to remove your filter. Now we're doing this without draining the entire oil out, the entire system out. So there is going to be kind of a lot that comes out of here. But we're going to pray that it's not too much. The reason I'm not doing my entire system is because I just did my oil change. So I really don't feel the need to do all of that. So every video that I watched on YouTube, they drained all the oil out. So we're going to find out if you actually have to do that or not. So we're going to let that all drip out. That way we have a clean surface to get our 22mm bolt out, which is going to be that banjo bolt there. And we're going to pull that whole thing off. So I do have an oil cooler on here, an aftermarket one, which connects right up to the regular hoses. So we are just going to pull that all the way off. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and spin this bolt off. And obviously there's going to be a little bit more oil that spills out because it's going to be in that whole system. Again, that's a 22mm bolt. I'm actually using a 1-inch socket because I don't have a 22mm, and it was fairly loose, and that's working out pretty well. So being that it was loose might actually be a little concerning. Maybe that was part of the entire issue. Anyways, so like I said, there's gonna be more oil that starts coming out. Remove our aftermarket line right here. This is gonna be a completely separate banjo bolt than the one that we actually need. So this is mine for my oil cooler, and then there's gonna be one more in there because my oil cooler, like I said, is aftermarket. You're gonna have, this is the proper one right here. And maybe our 1-inch is not going to fit on that one. So the seal that we're trying to get to is right behind that. We are going to lose a little bit more oil. Just make sure you're catching it all. And we're going to let that all drip out till it's ready to be switched. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and remove that main banjo bolt. If you don't have an aftermarket oil cooler, that's going to be the only bolt that you have, is just this one. Again, you're going to drip out some more oil. So we're going to do this nice and slowly, let the oil drip out, and at some point you will be able to just get it with your hands. I watched a couple YouTube videos and they all completely drain their oil, so I'm really hoping right now that we don't end up splashing our entire bodies. Oh, we're good. Alright, so pull this banjo bolt out. It is pretty freaking long, and it's very dark. I might end up cleaning that. I did just do my oil change, so I'm not worried about that really, but that is dark, so I'm going to make sure, I'm going to look up real quick and see if that's normal or not. So the ring is actually on the back side of this. It's going to be into the block, I believe, or it's on the back side of that. I got to check it from the other side. And then we're going to go ahead and go grab our replacements and put them in. Alright, so it is on the back side of the actual cooler itself. It's going to be that orange piece. This does look fairly good, so I'm a little bit worried that that might not be where our leak is from, but it is very dirty, so we're going to go ahead and clean it all up. We're going to change the seal regardless, just in case, and we're going to get at it. So the way to get that out, you can use a pick, you can use like needle nose pliers, just whatever you can to get that out. You're not going to reuse it, so it kind of doesn't really matter. So this actually came out extremely easily. I just used this orange pick here. Just kind of got it underneath it, pulled it out. It actually looks really good. We're still gonna obviously change it because I have some, but like I said, it does look really good, so I'm assuming that this might not be our leak. So we're gonna clean everything, and then we're gonna put the new one in. So obviously when you get this out, you're gonna wanna make sure that it looks exactly the same as your new one. And these are the same size. So there is a couple different options of these. If you go to Nissan, they're gonna give you a black one, and from what I've heard, the black one is actually slightly bigger, but it doesn't seal the same as this orange one. So I would go with this orange one. Like I said, it's the Dorman one. I showed you guys the part number earlier. If you just go to O'Reilly and give them this part number, or you go to Napa or AutoZone, you tell them this is what you need, they'll probably have it, or they'll refer you to someone that does. Again, that is what it is. This is a 3-pack. So we're gonna go ahead and clean this up. The inside of it, now that I've looked at it pretty good, is actually very dirty. So we're gonna go ahead and get like a Q-tip and some just really clean in there pretty good. Hoping that this is gonna solve our leak, but I guess we'll see after we're done. All right, so we got our new seal here. We cleaned everything. You're gonna want to go ahead and lube this up with some oil. I'm a firm believer in you can use the old oil. Everyone has different thoughts on that, but I'm just gonna lube it up in the old oil, and we're gonna put it back in there and seal everything up. I wrote down the foot-pound. Let me check real quick. So that 22 mil banjo bolt is gonna be 36 foot-pounds of torque. So it's not gonna be super tight, but you do want to make sure that you get the tool out and you actually torque that down to the right amount. So you're gonna go ahead and torque everything back down, or get their oil filter back on. Make sure you lube that front of that seal on the oil filter. And now we're gonna start it and see if our leak is fixed. If you know that that's where your leak was, or your gasket was cracked, then that's definitely gonna be fixing the problem. For us, we don't know for sure, so we're gonna